If you want to get in fantastic shape, then you are going to have to make some lifestyle changes and pick up some habits, because you are not just going to get shredded by accident. There are some habits that you should be doing every single day, and there are other habits that you can pretty much stop doing straight away. So I'm going to be ranking 20 habits that build an aesthetic physique from S tier down to F tier. Aesthetic meaning low body fat, decent amount of muscle mass, and generally just looking pretty good without a top on. Let's kick things off with fat burners. Fat burners are an overpriced marketing gimmick that I think absolutely no one should be taking. These are completely unnecessary for you to have an aesthetic physique, to build muscle or lose fat. Essentially, they increase your metabolism by like 200 calories, maybe even less, per day to keep you in a deficit. You could be taking fat burning pills and still be gaining weight. Completely unnecessary, especially for anyone looking to lose body fat. Just simply remain in a calorie deficit. Maybe pick a few better habits from this video to stick to. Avoid fat burners, and that is why they will be our first ones down in F tier. Second up, we've got eating 150 grams plus of protein per day. Now, we all know that protein intake is pretty essential if you want to build muscle. Now, 150 grams plus, there can be a limit. You don't need to be eating 300 grams or even close to around 200 grams. I personally would recommend around 150 grams for most people. You're not going to build muscle nearly as effectively if your protein intake is low, and you should be prioritizing eating protein every single day. Now, this would go S tier, but it's specifically 150 grams plus. I think 150 grams is fine for most people, and so it takes A tier. Next, stretching or mobility work. Now, personally, I think stretching and mobility work is such an important thing you should be doing for overall health. To build an aesthetic physique, you can actually go without stretching or mobility work. You could look completely shredded with a low body fat percentage and a relatively high muscle mass percentage by not doing any kind of stretching at all. But it is going to help, and it will have knock-on effects to different things, which will make it easier to hit your targets. I would definitely recommend daily stretching for about 5 or 10 minutes to pretty much anyone. But to build an aesthetic physique, meh. So this one will take B tier. Next up is a divisive one, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, aka not eating for long periods of time, can be a good way to reduce your calories and stay in a calorie deficit or around maintenance, so it can assist with fat loss. And you could, in theory, intermittent fast, and by the end of your fast, just eat a shit ton of food and then bump the calories back up you could have had in a separate meal. Intermittent fasting is not fantastic pre-workout. You ideally want some fuel for your workouts, and definitely post-workout if you're intermittent fasting is not a good idea either, because you need nutrients for your recovery. It is an okay way to keep track of your calories for some people, and a habit that, particularly if you don't like eating breakfast, for example, can be useful. But to maintain a decent level of muscle mass and also to remove body fat, it's not the best solution. So I'm putting it down in C tier. Pre-workout before every gym session. Now, I'm going to piss off a lot of my bros out there, but pre-workout is not necessary. I think if you're going for a massive lift, or you're trying to get really hyped up for a once in a month workout where you're lifting a ton of weight, absolutely take pre-workout. If you're going to the gym at 6 p.m. and taking pre-workout before, that's going to mess up your sleep, which is a far more important habit to stick to. You don't need pre-workout, and actually if you start taking it so often, you can become reliant upon it. Also just destroying your caffeine tolerance, and so then any coffees you'll have will just have no impact on you whatsoever. And that is why it's also taking C tier. Next up, tracking your calories and macros every day. If you want to lose fat or gain weight or build muscle or whatever, one of the best habits to do this is by tracking your calories. And so I would always recommend tracking calories at the start of any kind of lifestyle change or diet for at least a couple weeks. If you continue to eat the same foods every day, then you can probably put tracking to one side, because it can be a bit of a ball ache. And at that point, you'll know the calorie intake that you're consuming, and so you know that it's kind of working towards your goal. But if you want a consistently lean, aesthetic, shredded physique, then tracking your calories every day and taking into account any small changes in your daily diet is going to be so good to keep that physique. I don't think I can put this in anything less than S tier. Next up, prioritizing compound lifts in the gym. For an aesthetic physique, you obviously need to have a good amount of muscle mass. And in my opinion, you can build a hell of a lot of muscle mass and an extremely good looking aesthetic physique just by doing compound movements in the gym. Now, that isn't to say isolations aren't important, but they're probably not as important as your compound lifts, meaning that your compounds should definitely be prioritized, and prioritizing your compound lifts as a habit, doing them at the start of your workouts, is gonna make a big difference. That's why prioritizing compound lifts is going in A tier. Next up, using protein shakes to hit your protein targets. I'm a big advocate for protein shakes. I think they're a fantastic way to bump up your protein intake. Definitely not something to be relied upon, however. A lot of beginners who want an aesthetic physique know that they need a high protein diet. And so they think, right, I need to buy protein powders and protein yogurts and protein socks or whatever the hell they're selling now with protein in it. And all they consume is protein supplements. This is doing two things. One, it's not making sure that they're feeling full or getting any kind of nutrients in other than protein. And two, probably just giving them the shits. Protein supplements and protein powder is fantastic to just top up your protein intake, but still make sure that the majority of the protein in the day is coming through whole foods, meats, eggs, yogurts. Then use a protein shake at the end of the day to bump up your intake by 40 grams. It's a really easy way to bump up your protein intake, even though it's not absolutely necessary. So using protein shakes all the time is going in B tier. Taking BCAAs during a workout. Again, another supplement that is not needed, particularly during a workout. You don't need to take BCAAs to have an aesthetic physique at all. You can give your body enough branched chain amino acids just through a good, nutritious diet. If you're going to have anything intra-workout, then it is probably some carb source or electrolyte powder or energy drink or something like this. But BCAAs, intra-workout, pre-workout, post-workout, forget about it. F tier. Next up, lifting weights 2 to 5 times per week. Do I really need to talk about this one? I think everyone knows that this is a non-negotiable if it comes to building an aesthetic physique. There is only really one way that you're going to be building an aesthetic physique, and that is by doing some form of resistance training. To be fair, it doesn't actually have to be lifting weights. You could just do body weight work. Even 2 times a week is going to be absolutely fine. And this goes straight into and probably at the top of S tier. Next up, training to failure. Another interesting one, because I think this depends on your experience level. I actually don't think this is necessary to have an aesthetic physique. I think training at least close to failure for most of your sets is just good training habit. But again, if you're a complete newbie to the gym and you're looking to build some good habits, I think you don't need to be training to failure yet. You want to learn good technique, learn the movements, make sure your body is ready for it first. But the more experience you get, the higher intensity your workouts can be and probably should be to start building muscle to make sure that you're not plateauing or even declining in progress. So I don't think it's absolutely necessary and a non-negotiable, but it's still pretty important, and that's why it goes in A tier. Next up is taking no rest days. Now this could probably go in F tier quite easily, but the fact that on what would be a rest day, instead if you just did like a really low impact form of cardio, like a really long slow jog that doesn't actually impact you or your resistance training that much and keeps you nice and active, I don't mind it. But I would 100% recommend rest days to everyone. Take at least 2 per week. If you are crazy and you don't want to take any rest days and you're still seeing great results and your progress is like this, then fine. And that's why it's going in C tier, not F tier. Next up is taking multivitamins and electrolyte powder. Both of these are pretty unnecessary, I think, for most people, although they can be used as an insurance policy that you are getting enough of these vitamins and minerals in. But if your diet is good, if you're drinking enough water, you should be getting enough electrolytes in and enough vitamins as well. So it probably is a little bit of wasted money. I know it's getting marketed so heavily, especially electrolyte powder at the moment, and people think they need to be taking it. I promise you won't notice a difference, but it's not completely useless, and again, a good insurance policy, and that's why it's taking B tier. Next up, tracking your workouts. If there was one thing I wish people started doing in the gym all the time, it is tracking their workouts. It's so easy to do and also so satisfying to actually see your progress and to know that you are making progress, that you are not just winging it every single workout and, oh yeah, I think I lifted 9 reps last week and I did like 12 this week and I think the weight was the same. Like, forget about it. Just write down your workouts, make sure that you're making progress, and you will actually make progress. It's so easy to do, so low effort, and so high reward. In my opinion, this is a non-negotiable, and this is going straight into S tier. Cutting out carbs to lose fat. This one is completely pointless unless you are hitting the calorie targets that you want to be. Carbs are not the enemy, it's whatever your calorie goal is, and the best way to do that is by tracking your calories, not just cutting out an entire macronutrient that is massively helpful to build muscle. It's going to be massively helpful for your workouts and for your recovery and just to give you energy throughout the day. So unless you hate gluten and you've got blue hair, then just don't cut out carbs, keep eating carbs. This is going straight into C tier. Next up, the 80-20 approach. This is when you eat 80% whole foods and 20% kind of sweet treats throughout the day. Personally, I think this is a really good strategy to kind of break up eating mostly good, nutritious food, but then also kind of taking care of that craving, that sweet tooth a little bit as well. And the reason I think this is good is because you're limiting it to that 20%. A lot of people will try not to be eating any sweet stuff at all, and then actually get to the end of the day, start eating something sweet, and then they don't stop. But if you know only the kind of cheeky food is limited to 20%, I think this is a good ratio to follow and makes it easy, especially for beginners, to kind of kickstart eating good and whole nutritious food. A tier, walking 8 to 10,000 steps per day. This is one of the easiest ways to stay lean without doing extra cardio. For an aesthetic physique, this is just such a good idea to do most days. The only downside to this is the time cost, but actually if you're just walking throughout the day and making a conscious effort to go for walks or to walk to places, this really doesn't impact your daily life too much. And the benefit is that you stay active, you help to lose fat and stay lean without also making yourself starving, which cardio would do. 3 is just simply far more effort. Getting your daily steps in is such a good way to stay lean. This goes straight into S tier. And to finish this off, maybe one of the most important things, sleeping 7 to 9 hours every night. Sleep is just the ultimate superpower. If your sleep schedule is on point, you go to bed and you wake up at the same time every night and every morning, your life will change. You have higher energy, less cravings, better recovery, better mood, better focus. Your life improves significantly when you have greater quality sleep. This is just a non-negotiable for everyone, but particularly if you're looking to build an aesthetic physique, you would be an idiot if you weren't prioritizing sleep. Straight into S tier. So there you go. Let me know what you think I missed out or maybe misjudged. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. And also, if you have a physique that looks something like this, and you're looking to lose belly fat, build muscle, and learn how to stay lean, then check out my 12-week one-to-one coaching package. The link is in the description of this video. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one.